From quitting the show to getting fired, here are the real reasons these Criminal Minds actors left the big screen. Is this a cue not to get attached to the actors? Well, maybe. If you haven't learned this already, you better hold on to your hats, because this ride is full of twists and turns. The show has gone through more cast changes than a soap opera, so don't get too attached to any one character, because they might be gone faster than you can say profiler.
Security cameras, motion sensor lights. It's all the same, nothing beats a dog.
Not Moose. He's a big old goofball.
You don't say.
But hey, it's all part of the fun, right? Anyway, there's one actor whose character had a very dramatic exit, but the actor herself, not so much. I'm talking about Lola Glaudini. If you've been following the show from the start, you might remember Ellen Greenway, the original supervisory special agent with a knack for catching predators. Her story was full of drama, from being attacked by the creepy Fisher King to having to shoot an unsub in a controversial situation. But as it turns out, the real drama was behind the scenes, with Elle's portrayer Lola Glaudini. Apparently, LA just wasn't cutting it for her, and she was eager to head back east to her roots. So, while Elle may have left the BAU due to some intense emotional trauma, Lola left because she wasn't thrilled with the location. And who could blame her? I mean, it's one thing to play a kick-ass agent on TV, but it's another thing altogether to have to actually live in LA. While Lola had a problem with the location, there's a certain someone who had a problem with the storyline. In fact, it's the man who started it all. Yes, I'm talking about Mandy Patinkin. His character was the original profiler, and all was going well until season 3. Then, suddenly, bam, Gideon's out of there. It turns out that he was struggling with some heavy emotional stuff. Well, his girlfriend was murdered, so he didn't really have much choice. Anyway, he decided to take early retirement.
Beating myself up, thinking whatever I just did, the scene I just said, it wasn't good enough. The performance in the play that night, it wasn't good enough. It's not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. I will continue to work my life to just simply say to myself, whatever I do.
But that isn't where the story ends. Not for Gideon or for Mandy, because he made a brief comeback in season 10, only to be quickly killed off by a serial killer. Now, the real reason for Gideon's exit? Well, it turns out Mandy wasn't feeling the show's dark and violent themes, and decided he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So there you have it, folks. 1 minute you're catching bad guys, next you're saying adios to the BAU. While Mandy left the show and called his own shots, the next actor didn't have it as straightforward as him.
You told police that you didn't end up babysitting. Why?
Because Allison got into a fight with her boyfriend.
What was the fight about?
Paget Brewster. Oh boy, Paget's time on Criminal Minds has been quite the roller coaster. She first appeared as Agent Emily Prentice, joining the BAU after Ellie Greenway's departure. However, things were far from smooth sailing. In a move to shake things up, CBS decided to replace both Paget and AJ Cook with Rachel Nichols. And then, before you know it, they fired them. Of course, this didn't sit well with Paget. According to her, it left a bad taste in her mouth. After a bit of negotiation, she returned to finish her character's arc. But that's not all, folks. After some soul-searching, she realized her heart wasn't in it anymore and decided to take a break from the show. Fast forward a few seasons, and she was back and better than ever, continuing her work in Criminal Minds Evolution. It's been a bumpy ride for Paget, but it seems like she's back for good as Emily Prentice. While that was Brewster's story, here's someone who got fired along with her, AJ Cook.
Just came into the hotline about 5 minutes ago.
You've reached the FBI tip hotline for the Bradshaw College fires.
Carol, I do this for Carol.
Well, CBS sure likes to play with our hearts, doesn't it? They said goodbye to fan favorite JJ, played by AJ Cook, but oh boy, the fans were not having it. How can you just fire 2 of the most fan favorite characters out of nowhere and then call it being fresh? Anyway, the fans made some noise, and guess what? CBS listened. They said farewell to Ashley and brought JJ back with open arms. And just like that, JJ went from media liaison to a full-blown profiler and field agent. Bottom line, AJ Cook is back as JJ, and I couldn't be happier. And then there's the actor who replaced this fan fave, Rachel Nichols. Turns out not everyone can be a fan fave. Rachel tried to step up to the plate when she joined Criminal Minds as Ashley Seaver, but the fans were not having it after the departure of their beloved characters, played by Cook and Brewster. Despite her best efforts, Rachel couldn't quite win over the hearts of the fans, and ended up being written off the show in a not-so-dramatic exit. Lesson learned: never mess with fan favorite characters. While there are characters that fans can't get enough of, some are are just a fleeting memory. Turns out, Jeanne Tripplehorn is one of them. I know I sound kind of rude, but hey, it's the truth. It's safe to say that she was in and out in the blink of an eye. She played the character of Dr. Alex Blake, an FBI linguistics expert and professor at Georgetown, who joined the squad in season 8. But unfortunately, things didn't go smoothly for her character. She struggled with memories of her son's death and eventually moved to Boston to teach full-time. And that was that for her character.
Oh dear God, this is happening. Where I talk and the person is behind me. The origin of nice is 12th century Middle English, meaning foolish or stupid. I hope you're referring to the modern use of the.
Now let's get into the actual deets. Apparently, contract negotiations didn't go as planned, and that's why we barely got to know her on the show. I feel like this show has a special place for actors who just come and go, because the next one was pretty similar to Jeanne, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Okay, so she was a huge deal back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but her stint on Criminal Minds was a bit forgettable. Maybe it's because she was only around for one season. She joined the cast as Kate Callahan, a super skilled FBI agent with a background in criminal psychology. After her sister and brother-in-law were killed on 9/11, Kate became a mom to her niece and had a family with her husband. But after her niece was kidnapped and rescued, she found out she was pregnant. Kate decided to leave the FBI and focus on her family. Just like her character, Jennifer was also expecting a baby and wanted to spend more time with her growing family. Sure, Jennifer wasn't exactly a fan favorite, but it's not like it's new territory for the network. Only sometimes, the fans fail to bully CBS into bringing them back.
We just lost our best lead.
It's okay. We've got others.
We do?
I'll explain. Go interview them first so they can go home.
Hey guys.
I'm talking about Shamar Moore's Derek Morgan. Shamar's character, and Penelope Garcia, played by Kirsten Vangsness, had a dynamic that made everyone wish they had a BFF like them. With their flirty banter, who wouldn't want to be a part of their friendmance? But all good things must come to an end, and Derek eventually decided to step down from the FBI and spend more time with his family. Don't worry, he got a proper goodbye, and wasn't dragged out kicking and screaming like some other characters. Moore simply felt like he'd explored all he could with Derek, and was ready to take on new projects. And let's be real, after 11 seasons, who can blame him? While all of these departures were civil, the next one is on top of the controversy table, Thomas Gibson. Okay, I know Hotch was a fan fave, but his exit from the show was a little dramatic to say the least. Apparently, things got heated on set when he had a little disagreement with a writer. Let's just say that tempers were flaring, and Gibson ended up using his foot instead of his words. Yikes, that ended with a suspension, and ultimately him getting the boot from the show. An eye for an eye? This wasn't the first time Gibson had some anger management issues, but still, fans were shocked and not too happy about it. Hotch was written out as having gone into witness protection with his son. Fans even started a No Hotch, No Watch campaign, but eventually moved on. All in all, it was a controversial exit. So now you know the real reason these Criminal Minds cast members left.